Hi everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way. And I thought last week might be my last fall project, but I just got to do one more. Just one more fall project and then we're going to move on. So I want to show you how to put this little scene together. I haven't used these rocks in a really long time, and so I came across them and I thought, let's just put this into a scene. So I'm going to show you how to put this together. Okay, we're going to start out with the rocks, and those are in Watercolor Project Series 2, this little set of rocks right here. We're going to use those. We're going to go back to our little leaves again, and this time we're going to use our birch trees from the Covered Bridge set. In the Project Series 6, Set 1, we're going to go with these little branches here. And just one more, we're going to use the tiny little grass from the foliage set. So we really don't need a lot of stamps in this project. It looks really complicated, but again, it's super, super easy. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start out by stamping the rocks. Okay, and they come like this. So you can cut them apart and use them individually. I do both, but for this project, I'm going to keep them together and I'm going to stamp them as a whole. Okay, so I'm going to start out by inking these, and I'm using the sepia, so that's number 45 sepia. And I'm going to ink that up and stamp it in the center of my paper. Okay, just like so. And then I'm going to stamp it again. So I'm just going to use the small part of this and not the large, so I'm just going to clean that off. This is how I clean my stamps, but you can certainly clean them the proper way. So anyway, we're just going to use this little section, and I'm going to use my positioner because I want to make sure that I get this stamped in the right place. So now I'm going to just ink this one, the small one. And I'm going to stamp it in here just like this. Okay, and I'm going to place it right up here. So I'm going to sort of connect these two rocks together, these little sections together, and I'm just going to stamp it just like this. So put my positioner back in place and ink my little rocks again. And that's with the sepia. And then I'm going to just stamp it in here, just like so. Okay, so I've got this really cute rock formation. These are really fun to play with because you can do a lot of things like this and create different sorts of water features with these. So they're super easy to use. Okay, so the next step is to pull the color out of the line. So we're dipping the brush and pinching it off. And what you want to remember with about rocks is that you want to see a highlight on top. So you don't ever want to color everything in solid. That's just a good rule of thumb anyway. Try not to just color everything in. Think about the light coming straight down and keeping the tops of the rocks really light. That's going to add a lot of dimension to your image, and that's what we're going for. We don't want things to look flat. Okay, so that's a good start. We've got the color out of the lines like this, and now let's put our trees in. So I'm going to use my positioner again, because I want to get the trees in this section here, and I want to make sure that I get them in the right place. So I'm going to ink this in two colors. So because we're going to make this tree fall, I'm going to do the trunks of the tree. So that's the largest part of the tree, the base. We're going to use the sepia with that, and then the top, the small branches, we're going to use the number 6 brown. So we're just going to ink this part, and if you overlap it a little bit, that's okay. Colors are all going to blend together anyway. Okay, so let's get our little shield here. Put that into the L square and just stamp this in the corner so that we can see exactly where these trees are going to go. Now, if you look at the image, they're a little tall for this section. And really, we don't need all of this. Since we're doing a smaller scene, let's take off part of these trees. So when we go to stamp it, let's remove part of these trunks. That's the great thing about stamping, is that you can use bits and pieces, and I do that all the time. So I'm going to place this here, and you can see how much of the trunk is kind of overhanging. I'm going to take that off when I go to ink it. And you can do that one of two ways. You can just not ink it, or you can take your thumb like I do and just remove the ink. Okay, so we're going to ink that with the sepia again, and the branches again with the brown. And now I'm going to just remove, I'm just going to guess here. So it's about a ½ inch. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to stamp it in here just like that. Okay, that's about right. So now let's add the water to the trees. So remember with the birch trees, we're going to pull the color into the negative space because we want the birch trees to look pretty white. And we want them to look white against the background. So we're just going to drag some of this color out, kind of into the negative space. And just pull this out to the background. Just like so. If you feel like you're getting too much color on your brush, just dip it in water and pinch it off. And that sort of cleans all the excess ink off of here. Okay, so let's go on with the trees now. Let's add the little leaves, and this is the little leaves from the covered bridge set. So let's start with the lightest color. This is ochre. So actually number 13, ochre. And we're just going to kind of stamp this wherever. You don't really have to go in a pattern. You're just getting some color in here. A little bit here and there. Get it in there at least 3 or 4 times. Okay, like so. And then we're going to put some down below in here. We want to create this idea of the fall colors on the ground as well. So not just up in the tree and the leaves, but on the ground. And back in here as the water comes around, you can see on the original, see as the water comes around this little bend, we want to put this foliage back in here also. So we're sort of going to drag this color all the way over. And see, just tap it in there. Just like so. Okay, so now let's move on to another color. We can add some orange in here. This is actually number 83 butterscotch, but any orange is going to work. Let's put a little of this color in here. Okay, and let's go with some dark color now. Let's add some red. And we'll just put a little bit of this in here. So we haven't added any water now to the branches. We're going to get all this color in and then we'll add the water to it. We can always add some more red too. So let's finish here and just add the water and we'll just see what we have. So carefully now just dab at these little lines. These are tiny little lines, so we're actually blending the color. We're not really painting. So we're just kind of touching all these little lines with your brush. This is a pretty dry brush, so don't get too much water. If you find that you've got a big blotchy area, it's probably because you've got too much water on your brush. So I dip my brush, I pinch it off, and you can see how flat it is. It's pretty flat. That means I don't need a lot of water because I'm softening these tiny little lines, and they don't need a lot. Okay, let's blend this color down in here, down in the bottom. This is that yellow ochre. I just love this color. And adding the water just kind of brightens this all up. Super cute. And you can bring some of this color up into the sky. I sort of blend this color a lot. Just drag some of this yellow up in here into the background. It will really kind of show off these trees too. Because things, you know, in order to make something look white when you're stamping, you really have to kind of surround it with color. That's how we get that. Okay, that looks pretty good in the background now. So let's add our water to this. So we're going to do that from the palette. This is the number 86. It's a cool blue, which would be perfect for water in fall, but you can use other blues as well. So what you want to remember with water is that you want to keep your hands straight. So straight lines, and stay away from the bank. Don't bring that color up all the way to the rocks. For a couple of reasons. We don't want that sepia to blend into the water. We don't want that to bleed. And it also creates a softer effect. And just bring this color all the way around, just like so. This is just the idea of things. So a little bit goes a long ways. Perfect. Okay, so let's keep moving here. Let's add something in the foreground now. So we're going to use our little, the little branches, this little guy, and we're going to ink it in the brown. So this is the number 6 brown, and we're just going to stamp it up in here like so. Let's ink it again. And I don't necessarily need the whole thing sometimes. I'm going to stamp it kind of behind these rocks, and then a little bit in the background. So a really light touch, and let's put some of this back here. So super light back in the background. Okay, and we really don't need to add any water to this. This is good just the way it is. We want these fine lines. So if we add too much water to this, we're gonna make these lines a little too thick. So let's just keep them really thin like that. We're gonna go back now to the little leaves, and we're gonna just put some flowers in here. You can do this with your flower set also, the little filler flower. Just add a little bit here and there. Super cute. And then these back in here, let's just leave those alone. Let's just leave those as trees that have lost their leaves. And they're good just the way they are. So let's add a little water to this area now. And because I'm using a dark color, I can stamp over the top of this blue. And because I didn't just saturate this water and make it super dark, I can do that also. So kind of keep that in mind when you're choosing a color. If you're going to stamp over something that's colored like this, pick a color that's going to really show up. Okay, we're almost finished with this. Let's add another little detail, and that would be the little grass. So we're going to add a little bit of this grass, and we're going to use the ochre again. So we're just going to stamp a little of this in here. It sort of completes this area where the rocks are. And yellow is a little unexpected. It's not the color you would normally use, but it's really cute with all these fall colors. A little bit there, here and there. That looks pretty good. Let's add a little water to this. Soften these lines. There we go. Looks pretty good. I love the soft look of watercolor. It's just so fun. And this is the fastest, easiest way to do watercolor. Super fast, done in 5 minutes, and you don't have to be a professional because this is just so easy to do. And once you understand about how to stamp these things, like, you've just got it. Okay, there we go. Our little fall scene is finished. So only one thing left to do, and that is sign and date. Put it on a card, put it in a frame, and give it away and make someone so happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.